完璧などありえない。この世界は不完全だから美しい。
もうバカバカバカ。
何？
俺は海賊王になる。なんて美味しさなの。
力を渡した時に言ったことを覚えているかい？くれ。違う、そこじゃない。
変態。遅い。
Hello and welcome to More Than Hentai, a podcast that is here to show that anime is just far more than tentacles and catgirls. There's also countless stories of love, loss, laughs, hope, horror, and happiness that it is dying to be found. And I, Brendan White, the Salt and Pepper Senpai, I'm here to help you find them. More Than Hentai is proudly powered by Audio Technica and Dash Water, so go upgrade your audio and hydration games today. And joining me in the Segoy studio is a dear friend of mine who is equally at home, diving into hell or enjoying quite the cozy horror film. If there was a championship for mouth breathing, he would certainly be taking home the gold. He is a man of exquisite taste, citing Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Berserk, and Perfect Blue as some of his all-time anime favorites. You can find him on the socials at Broke Nose De Niro. Jared, you bloody sexy legend. Welcome to the studio. How might you be doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic now that I'm here with you.
Ah, stop it. I bet you tell that to everybody in the podcast game.
It's kind of like almost like looking into the future for me. I know that like there's a slight age difference here and it's probably only like a few months, but like, you know what? I want to look like you when I grow up.
I don't know if you want to wish that karma on anybody, but I appreciate the kind gesture. But
is it because it's so hard being this pretty?
It's heavy as the head that wears the crown, as they say, my man.
Indeed.
Nah, it's definitely none of that. I enjoy as little attention on me as possible. So if I can hide away under a hat or a beanie or a hood, I will gladly do that any chance I get. But no, we're here. We're here in the studio in video form, talking anime, talking podcasts, and it's very exciting to have you on board because you've got a mind that I am always intrigued and interested about. You're into a lot of things that I vibe with. So maybe first and foremost, maybe we'll talk a little bit about yourself and then we'll narrow that lens into talking about yourself and anime. But yeah, tell the listeners who you are, what you do, anything else you want to share or don't share. The floor is yours, my friend.
Sweet. Well, I am Jared, otherwise known as Broke Nose De Niro. I come from a predominantly horror background. That's kind of been my bread and butter since I was a kid. Was absolutely petrified of them until about 13, maybe. And then kind of got my hands on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and it was all downhill from there. That's
fair enough. Like Topoopery does good things. I can understand why that would make you feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more content in that space because, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is all about family. You know, family is everything. I guess it's the original Fast and Furious in that way where
it is,
you don't have
definitely.
to be blood to be a family. And
barbecue and family.
See, two of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I understand why that was your gateway into feeling comfortable with horror.
Yeah, it was great. And I actually ended up doing like a school assignment on it. Now I went to a Catholic school and it did not go over too well. So, look, they just had to take it as it is. And I think later on I did an assignment. This is terrible.
I love
myself
this.
Here.
I'm all for this.
So we had to do a studies of religion and we had to do most influential person in religion or like a person that was influential. And I chose David Koresh from Waco, Texas. And
that would not have gone well. I'm sure.
They still graded it. I just had to have a chat with the principal afterwards. And he was like, you know, you probably shouldn't be this edgy, you edgelord. And then I was like, I'm not trying to be. I'm just intrigued.
How old were you at the time? Like what year were you in when you were going against the Catholic system here at school?
It was 16, 17, 18.
Okay. So like year 10, year 11, something like that.
Yeah. So the thing is that I started growing facial hair very young.
Me too. See, we are kindred spirits.
Yeah. So at 13, I had to shave daily. Daily, which
Holy
was
moly.
Horrible because like all you want to do in the morning is wake up, have your cup of Milo, throw on yesterday's uniform that was potentially, you know, soiled, and then go to school, right? but like I
Mhm.
would have had to have shaved in the morning, and I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I started growing facial hair pretty quickly, and they were against that. So I guess that kind of fueled my hatred towards
Yeah, you had
that.
the middle finger up to the system very
I
early.
was so
Like,
ready. I was so ready, and they were like, you can't have a beard at school, and I'm like, it was mostly a neck beard, I will say. It
oh, okay,
was, yeah.
okay,
So talking about anime, this works well.
yeah, yeah. You were born for this life at a very very young age.
I wouldn't say that like I am an is it a weeb?
A weeb, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good technical term you could throw
that's good.
around.
Yeah, so I'm not a weeb. I'm probably a dweeb.
Mhm.
I'm not. I'm a discount weeb.
You're the wish weeb.
Yeah, exactly. I go through stages where I'll watch like 3 or 4 series, and then I'll
Mhm.
take a break for 3 6 months, and then come back and do the same thing. So I've been doing that for probably the past 10 years. But overall, I've never really found a horror anime that I can say tickled my horror bone. It's something completely different, at least from what I'm noticing with horror in anime, is that it is mostly about the gore.
Yeah, yeah.
It is. There's no jump scares. There's sometimes like horrific creatures, and like a lot of darkness and a lot of paranormal sort of stuff, but nothing ever comes as close to it as like a. It doesn't come close to like a poltergeist or like just a Conjuring or those sorts of films, where they all have the jump scares. It's just anime is always more blood and more titties generally.
Yeah, yeah, and they are synonymous with a lot of horror, especially a lot of like 80s, 90s, or even just general B grade horror. You do see a lot of blood and titties on the regular in live action or in animated style. But yeah, I think a lot of the studios and the directors that try and jump into the world of anime horror, they can't get that atmosphere right, that edge of your seat, sitting like with pins and needles, just waiting to be scared off the couch type of vibe. There is a few that do execute it intermittently, but yeah, there's a few that try and fail miserably to almost to the point of humor and like so bad it's so good type of vibe, which I can appreciate as well. They just lean into the absurdity.
Yeah, I think they do definitely. Like when they sort of fail, they just go, yeah, you know what, let's just go with it. Like, let's just make it as ridiculous as possible. And now, somehow this person is now a tentacled monster, I think, yeah, you will never get the jump scares, but I want to try, and I feel like Elfen Lied, if I'm saying that correctly.
You are saying that. Well, at least that's how I say it too. Like any purists out there, you can come at me on the socials, but that's how I pronounce it. That's how the narrator pronounces it at the end of the next episode previews. So
that's right. That's what I'm going off. I feel like he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Elfen Lied has come up in numerous lists of best horror anime that I've Googled, and I've just never sat down and watched it. And then you reached out and said, hey, want to have you on the show? And I said, cool. What about this one? And you said, juicy. The first episode is a doozy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the craziest first episodes that I've ever seen in anime. The craziest like first 7 minutes you just about see in anything really, outside of maybe like, I don't know, being pretty crassy, but in like a porno where they're just straight into it. Like this is just straight in, like no table setting, no nothing. It's just wham, bam, viscera. Sorry, you're in a million pieces, ma'am, type of vibe.
Not here to fuck spiders, that's for sure.
No, and the spiders that are there are cut to pieces. So yeah, it is crazy. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. But like, yeah, you sort of said you're, I guess, intermittently viewing anime where you'll binge every couple of months, a few seasons, jump back in after you have a little bit of a rest and maybe go play some video games and watch some other horror movies. Because you do watch and review many a horror movie, and you can find them on them socials at Broke Nose De Niro to see those very clear, concise, honest, open reviews. They're great because I've sort of noted and saved a few films that you've watched that have been reviewed positively from you, because I'm like, I need to add them to my little watch list down the line, because you're a wise man in this field, and I feel I'm pretty knowledgeable in the horror space, but then you jump me by leaps and bounds. So you've got a lot of knowledge in that grey matter.
It's there's something about it that's just always fascinated me, and I think as I get older now, I've watched the majority of the films that I want to see. So now I'm really trying to find new films, and that generally means going back to the 70s and 80s. One I found the other day was Cannibal Girls, which I never heard of. 1973, directed by Ivan Reitman, who went on to do Ghostbusters.
What?
And starring a very young Eugene Levy.
Wow. Did he still have the big eyebrows back then?
He had a lot of big everything. There was the biggest afro I've ever seen. He had the skeeziest mustache. And I'm pretty sure I could see his chest hair through his shirt. So
I love that.
It was great, but I haven't finished it yet. So we'll have to go back and watch that one. But that was just one that, he did that. And then he did maybe 2 other films and then just Ghostbusters. And it was like, oh, damn, now he's on that trajectory to Hollywood stardom.
Cannibal Girls was just the palate cleanser that led us to Peter Venkman and co. getting slung.
Definitely doesn't feel like it came from the same person. Like as in the content is a little bit questionable. And there's no Slimer. So
damn it. Is there a marshmallow man? Maybe a marshmallow cannibal woman in this one.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, they're definitely eating people like their marshmallows. So, I mean, it could have just been a precursor.
Yes. Yeah. He took the ideas and the concept of Cannibal Girls and then converted it into the greatness, which is Ghostbusters.
We're like, let's just take this idea and add marshmallows.
Yeah. So talking about taking ideas and adding very unique and interesting concepts to it. Like I mentioned, as far as some of your favorites from anime of yesteryear, and I've noticed there is a common thread here as far as this is anime from the 90s, early 2000s, as far as where you cut your teeth and what you call some of your Mount Rushmores. Like you got Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Berserk, and Perfect Blue. And there is some similarities. Like I'd say Cowboy Bebop is certainly the lightest in tone of the 4. Like it does still have some heavy moments and some big emotional arcs for the leads, but like Berserk, Perfect Blue, and Neon Genesis are of a very similar cloth that they were cut from. There's a bit of violence, a bit of shock and awe, a bit of like deep-rooted philosophical stuff going on as far as, the mental makeup of characters and the world itself and blurring the lines of fantasy and reality. But you've got a few of the crown jewels, you could say, as far as anime, whether it be from today or, decades back.
I think for me, especially with Neon Genesis, that was something that, if you remember as an Australian, he used to air on SBS late at night, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. And that was kind of like, I went to a friend's house for a sleepover and he had taped Starship Troopers on VHS.
Also an amazing film.
Incredible. I mean, I know we were playing Helldivers yesterday, so it felt like we were living out that fantasy. But he taped that, and then he would always tape the episodes of Neon Genesis that week, and I'd never seen it. So we watched Starship Troopers, and then we literally started watching Neon Genesis, and then I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah. And I felt like here in Australia, we have for a really long period of time, it was so hard to access things. So the only way that I could get a copy of Neon Genesis was if I bought it through America and also had a region-free DVD player. So I had to do that so I was able to play it. And that was like the lengths that we would go to do this, right? So same with Cowboy Bebop. Had to get that region-free DVD player out and crank it out. But I don't know where they've gone now, those copies. I think someone else took them to borrow them to watch. But
hopefully they've enjoyed them as much as you have.
I hope so. Seeing Neon Genesis get that sort of update with the films, that was really good to see. Still live through that nostalgia. With Berserk, I don't think I really watched that until only recently, maybe the past 5 years. And that was awe-inspiring. Fantastic. That big-ass sword that just demolishes people.
Yeah, Guts does not muck around. And the first go-around Berserk getting converted to anime is some of the best anime you'll ever see. The following seasons when they shift into the digital realm, some of the worst anime you'll ever see, but they are
okay.
The big rumor doing the round, like it's been loosely confirmed, but they are doing a reboot of Berserk and doing it in the proper anime style, avoiding as little digital as possible. So I'm excited to see what Guts is up to in 2024. Like I think they're going to be retelling the primary stories and the origins and stuff, but
He's dealing with long COVID. That's
just dealing with a lot of COVID stuff. Yeah. But like you mentioned as well, Perfect Blue, like Satoshi Kon, who is one of the godfathers of anime, like not only did Perfect Blue, like you mentioned, but like Paprika as well, which is another one which I absolutely adore. And like Paranoia Agent, which is probably his best foray into the episodic telling of anime, is also well worth a watch. And it's on my list here as far as a title I want to cover, because Paranoia Agent is sick. But yeah, Perfect Blue is very, very special viewing as well. So I'm happy that you're a big fan yourself.
I do feel that Perfect Blue kind of blurred the line between like anime and just a great film, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like you could submit that to the Academy and potentially have it up for an Oscar, right?
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm in lockstep with you there. Like it is so special, and it came out in the back end of the 90s, so it was one of the first Japanese animated films to get a little bit more global acclaim, you could say. Like it started to break into the mainstream a little bit, and I think you used the word blur, like that's a perfect way to describe everything about this film, because the way it genre jumps, it shifts from fantasy and reality, and then like blurring into the mainstream as well. It's so good. I haven't watched it in a long time, but talking about it now, I'm like, I want to go back and watch it.
I think it was actually showing at a local cinema here, which I was really upset that I didn't get to go see it. But when I had watched it, I was going through a phase of just really consuming David Lynch content. So like I found myself, watching Mulholland Drive, which I actually watched with my parents. Just FYI, terrible film to watch with your parents.
Yeah. Wouldn't recommend that. No.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't learn my lesson because I took my mum to go see Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, yep. Not as intense in scenes as Mulholland Drive, but there's still a few where your mum would be looking at you side-eyed with the eyebrows raised as Leo and Margot are in some interesting predicaments. Well, that's the thing,
because I mean the movie's set in the 80s, and like I wasn't around until the late part of that, so I'm not doing that sort of stuff. But Mum, maybe you were up to no good in the 80s. Like I should be side-eyeing you. But yeah, Mulholland Drive, which has the greatest jump scare in like any David Lynch film, of Behind the Dumpster. And then I watched Lost Highway, it was, and then a bunch of Twin Peaks. So then watching Perfect Blue, it kind of felt like somebody had taken some of David Lynch's work and gone, we can adapt this into some like cool mystery sort of transcends reality sort of stuff. And I'm very thankful for it. And I should probably go watch it again.
It's so great. It is so great. Any listeners out there that haven't checked it out, please add it to your rotation as soon as you can. Like it only runs for an hour and a half or so, 90 minutes. It's not a big, dense viewing, but in that time period, it plays out one of the greatest stories in anime, and it's so gorgeously animated. Like Madhouse produced this, who are one of the kings of the animation space, and you can see they're flexing their full might with Perfect Blue, because there's some scenes where it's just a fever dream and just like, what is happening? What is going on? But I'm all for it.
Has there been, other than Paprika, has there been anything other like afterwards similar?
As far as Satoshi Kon and what he's been up to?
No. I just mean in terms of like a thematic experience. Cinematic experience, sorry, not thematic.
There'd be a few. Like I'll have to sort of mull it over, and we'll sort of throw a few. Nothing's immediately coming to mind that can sort of hit these similar notes, especially like if we're looking at from a film perspective. Like there's a few more long form episodic anime that hits similar vibe and similar tone, but then I think you lose some of that impact when it is stretched out over 13 to 24 episodes as opposed to 90 minutes of just whack. So
how about we sit here in silence for the next 20 minutes while you think of some?
Yeah, and we'll reflect on the late great Satoshi Kon there. But yeah, you're a man of exquisite taste, both in live action and anime form. But yeah, listeners, if this is your first time stopping on by More Than Hentai, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking a chance on this podcast. We appreciate you very much for that. But the way this podcast works is we do a singular episodic deep dive on yours or my guest's hopefully next favorite anime. Leading up to recording, there's a bit of a back and forth trying to work out, what our guests' viewing habits are, what they enjoy, what's their favorite, favorite anime, which we've sort of referenced already, and we try and find something that we feel will fit that vein as far as what they deem a quality watch, and then we deep dive on the first episode front to back. So we are going full spoilers for episode 1. We will not go beyond that as far as spoiling major twists and plot points that exist past the first episode, and then at the end we'll sort of do a bit of a recap and work out if this was a successful recommendation, will they or won't they continue to watch, so on and so forth. But yeah, listeners, if you're paying attention early on, our title in focus for this episode is a scene in science fiction horror drama known as Elfen Lied, which was written and illustrated by Lin Okamoto and began serialization in Shueisha's weekly Young Jump from June 2002 through to August of 2005, with its 107 chapters collected into 12 tankobon volumes. The 13-episode plus 1 OVA animation television series adaptation was produced by ARMS, the studio known for titles such as Iki Towson, Samurai Girl, Mayu, and Aesthetica of a Rogue Hero, to name but a few, which aired from July to October of 2004 and ended up very much in a Game of Thrones or Full Metal Alchemist type situation where the anime ended before the manga was complete. Elfen Lied is not readily available on streaming services, but in some regions you can find it on High Dive. Elfen Lied currently holds a score of 7.47 on my anime list based off 874,000 unique user reviews and is the 74th most popular anime overall on the website. And the story of Elfen Lied is as follows. Lucy is a special breed of human referred to as a Diclonius, born with a short pair of horns and invisible telekinetic hands that lands her as a victim of inhumane scientific experimentation by the government. However, once circumstances present her an opportunity to escape, Lucy, corrupted by the confinement and torture, unleashes a torrent of bloodshed as she escapes her captors. During her breakout, she receives a crippling head injury that leaves her with a split personality, someone with the mentality of a harmless child possessing limited speech capacity. In this state of instability, she stumbles upon 2 college students, Koda and his cousin Yuka, who unknowingly take an injured fugitive into their care, unaware of her murderous tendencies. This act of kindness will change their lives as they soon find themselves dragged into the shadowy world of government secrecy and conspiracy. So, Jared, we are tackling episode 1, known as A Chance Encounter - Begegnung in the German tongue. I probably butchered the absolute shit out of that. But episode 1, A Chance Encounter. Let's talk about your general impressions overall on the episode, broad brush style, and then we'll jump in and go a little bit more granular. So what was your first impressions after watching episode 1, A Chance Encounter of Elfen Lied?
Okay, so I've watched it twice now. Watched it again yesterday. I can honestly say, wow. Just wow. Now it's wow in a good way, but also wow in a that's interesting choices. I think overall it has the bones to be a great series. It almost made me want to go out and read the manga. I've never ever read manga, just FYI.
No judgment here. No judgment
I'm actually not sure if I know how to read manga. I would be the person that opens it up and just reads the first page and be like, what? It's over. So I just think that this, from a horror perspective, the violence sort of touches on that Kill Bill Volume 1, that Evil Dead, almost to the comical sense. And I was here for it. I loved it. It was great. And now I think we do sort of make jokes that it is so bad that it's good. I love shit movies. I'm just going to put it bluntly. So this is no different. I really enjoyed it. I think watching it now in 2024 versus 2004, the world has changed a lot. And And I actually don't know how people would have received it in 2004.
Yeah, like I went doing some digging, like my quick general overview impression of it. Yeah, like it is shock and awe. It's got the strongest opening that I can remember in just about anything. As far as those first 7 minutes, you just strap in, hold on, and try and let your jaw not hurt as it hits the floor, because there is a lot going on in this first 7 minutes. Like they do not hold back, and I am all for that. Like Kanbei, who's the director behind it, he just fully lent into the absurdity and the violence. And yeah, there is some things that I think is a little unnecessary, in getting that made today maybe wouldn't land the same way that it did 2 decades ago. But reading a lot of the reviews, I went on a couple of older forums from like 2004 to through to 2008 of people like unpacking the first episode. Yeah, dangerous, scary, do not recommend it. But everyone's like, man, this is so good. It's like, and even like then, like it's not that far ago, like 20 years is, you know, it's a good amount of time, but the world hasn't changed in that big a way, right? You'd think, at least. But they're all like, this is brilliant storytelling. There's so much context. There's so much imagery and the metaphors and all that. And I'm like, really? What? Like, and it made me think, you know, you're the resident horror man here on this potty right now. It really vibed with me, and something that I thought this morning when I was sharing, I'm like, how would I describe Elfen Lied to some people? And I'm like, it feels like early or like B grade A24 films, where people like seem to talk up a lot of these films like they're the greatest thing ever made. Yet, at least for me as a viewer, I'm like, beyond the surface, there's just all this dense dribble and metaphorical nonsense where I need to jump online to get the context. And that's what Elfen Lied is to me, where if you just take it for what it is, which is violent sci-fi with some unnecessary young adult / child nudity, which is the thing we'll talk about soon. Outside of that, there is some metaphors and some depth and some imagery and meaning, but you got to probably go digging out in the weeds to find some of that.
Yeah, I think you really, like, in the first episode especially, there's not really much. Like, there's a few like incest things going on that you like automatically click to, like, just straight away. But other than like a whole theme that's going to be running through the show, not really. I think the amount of blood and that's just completely, themes are out the window. It's like, who cares? Let's just get some titties and some blood and some, you know, catgirl ears. Sweet. Done. I think, is this what they refer to as fan service?
It's a bit fan servicey for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it leans into that a little bit much at times. Like there is some unnecessary scenes where they're having a battle and the telekinetic spirit hands are ripping people apart. But for somehow that first slice always manages to rip all the clothes off to begin with. And you're like, okay, fair enough. Like that's a very precise shot.
Yeah.
But you cut the soldier man in half in one hit. You didn't see him get stripped to his nutty, but if there's a young girl there, clothes are gone and they're not dead yet all the time.
I want to see dong.
Yeah, but it's interesting too with Elfen Lied, the way the episode starts off. We don't get a cold open. We don't get any introduction to the characters in sort of a storytelling sense. It's just straight into the OP, and it starts with a very Undertaker-esque gong. Like it's a very like ominous, very like it's a spiritual hymny type of song. Like Lilium by Kumiko Noma is the song, and the imagery that accompanies it, it's super art house. It's just static images of Lucy and some of the other characters. And I've done some digging on this, and all the images that we see in this OP are sort of reimaginings of artwork by a famous Austrian artist called Gustav Klimt, who sort of passed away tragically just sort of near the back end of World War II. But he's a bit of a big time artist in Austria and in sort of the traditional painting world, allegedly. And yeah, I don't know what happened, but Kanbei, the director behind this, had a bit of an obsession with Gustav Klimt, I imagine, as well as Lin Okamoto, who sort of is the illustrator and the writer of Elfen Lied. So there's a lot of German, Austrian references throughout, whether it be the title itself, like Elfen Lied's a play on words of like the German word, which ties into like fairy tale and fairy. So there's all these Germanic
absolutely
references.
Nothing to the series.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But it's interesting because the first image you see of Lucy in the OP, it's actually a reimagining of a portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer, and that was a painting that actually got stolen by the Nazis when they of the annexation of Austria, and up until like 2006, it was the most expensive painting ever sold in the world at the time. Obviously, it's since been surpassed
by some sort of NFT thing.
It would not surprise me.
Bathing ape,
yeah, bathing ape, or like a Shiba doing something, Shiba Inu. But there's also some other imagery throughout this OP that we see where Lucy's doing this hand gesture, like, and for the viewers, she's got a hand set like this, where her ring and middle fingers are sort of held together and sort of holding it across the chest, and all this imagery, and that ties into spirituality, where people who commit sins, they place their hands like this to show moral pain and remorse for their actions. So you're like, man, there is so much depth in this weird ass, very beautiful, very haunting intro, but it's just so unlike anything else out there in the anime game. And it's probably one of the best things about the anime overall, in my opinion. What do you reckon?
Well, the whole, like, it's very operatic. It's like a sense of calming with like that Renaissance style artwork. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It is a naked woman for the majority of that opening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, all right, this is what we're in for. Where we already know that it's going to be graphic. So it's very calming. And I've watched a few episodes after, and I've never skipped it. It always seems to you go watch that. It's very nice and whatever, and then it'll cut to that juxtaposition, that next scene that's just going to be like, well, shit, here we are. There's a severed arm on the ground.
Yeah, and there is many severed appendages throughout this 13 episodes. But yeah, the song itself, like, it is beautiful, and it reminds me of, like, as a kid, for some reason, my dad really liked. You'd probably remember too, because we were the same age. But remember when, like, Gregorian anthems was like a thing? Yeah. He had that playing in the car sometimes, and it's really haunting but beautiful. And this intro is that. I don't know why they felt the need to then overlay some nudity in these images as well. But, like, hey, I didn't make this. It's not my decision. But yeah, you read some of the lyrics from the intro, and it's all about divine fire, have mercy, how sacred, how serene, how benevolent, how pleasant, oh pure joy. Like, it's all about, like, if you survive the test, you shall receive the crown of life, and all this really deep philosophical stuff where I'm like, man, as a kid watching this was all above my head.
Yeah. That's above my head now. Like, honestly, I was reading those things, and I felt like I was being exercised to an extent. Like, I felt like there should have just been a priest just pop out from behind my couch and start, like, waving things at me. But no, you're right. It's a very interesting choice. And when watching that without in context of the show, it's like you think that it's going to be very focused on religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would think that. I haven't come across a speck of it yet.
No, I'm in lockstep with you there. Like, it sort of, you assume that you're going to go down one path, and then after that OP ends, you go down a completely different path that is covered in blood and appendages and violence, and don't muck around with this woman, because hell hath no fury than a Diclonius that has been caged up for most of her life. And my goodness, the opening scenes, we are introduced to Lucy. She's restrained in this giant metallic cage, fully naked, barring a helmet that I guess sort of, lessens her telekinetic abilities. So she's got this helmet on, but that ain't enough to keep her caged, because there's a couple of guards in there, and she uses her telepathy to rip the first guard's arm off, and then he gets his head exploded, and we see her escape the shackles using her mind bullets and her mind power. And the shackles are busted open. The giant blast door slowly opens in front of her as well. So you can see she is the only person held captive in this giant room with like 10-inch thick metal walls and all this. Like, you can already tell that, you don't want to mess with this woman in the helmet, because to go to this extent to keep her caged and contained means that she's a bit of a badass.
I don't know, maybe it was the version that I watched, but while she was in the contraption, she was clothed. And then once she got out of the contraption, she had no clothes on.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it was very, very strange. I'm like, okay, did she just like, I don't know, shimmy out of her clothes and that's how she got out of it? But no, obviously they cut to it later on and show that she broke out of it. But then there's that like huge, and I really, really love this in terms of like a like cinematography kind of thing where it's just that camera's just that static camera with the doors open, you get the light coming in from the blast doors, and then she just slowly walks away out casually in no rush whatsoever with that helmet on her head that kind of reminded me of Chainsaw Man.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
it's
just
got
without
a
the chainsaw.
similar shape. Yeah, no blade coming out of the front of it, but
yeah,
it's got a similar look to it.
I swear I've seen this before, but yeah, and then just casually strolls out like she's in no hurry. She's out for blood. The bloodlust is real, and you know what? She's got all the time in the world to do it.
Yeah, so she, like you said, just cool as a cucumber, just slowly walking through these giant blast doors. Yeah, naked apart from this helmet. She's carrying and then drops a decapitated head. There's a lot of that happening throughout the 13 episodes. There's a lot of people holding, or there's a lot of decapitated heads just in and around the characters and the situations that play out. But I don't know if you picked up on this, where she's walking towards the blast doors, and like it's a very slow, ominous shuffle. Like she doesn't really have anywhere to be. She's just taking her time. She actually is humming the main melody of Lilium, the intro song. I don't know if you heard it, but it's really, really, really faint. But yeah, she's humming that. And this song is constantly weaved in, not only through the OP, but through the episodes, that ties in characters and interactions throughout the 13. So it's consistently used.
Is that another German reference?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm wondering if the music was also related to... Anyways. Maybe not. But then, like we sort of talked at the beginning, where this anime and this manga jumps from hyper violent to comedic and humorous types of situations. The next scene we have, after she's just cut these two guards to pieces and is carrying around a head, we're introduced to three random female employees just talking shop in the break room. We're introduced to Kisaragi-san, and we find out that you think, okay, maybe she's going to be one of the leads here in this show, because we get a bit of context about how the boss she works for is a bit of a hard ass, but you know what? She's sort of defending him. He's really nice if you get to know him, but you can see all over the break room there's like notes and memos stuck everywhere, because we find out pretty quickly that Kisaragi, she's a bit of a ditz. She's a bit of a clumsy comedic character going on here. So there's notes about, watch out when you boil the water and do this and do that, like common sense type of stuff. Yeah.
But there's notes there for everywhere as far as Kisaragi navigating this break room and this role she has. And we're also getting a situation here where we're hearing a voiceover from someone in the security office going, there's a situation happening in the underground research bunker. Doors are going to be sealed in 60 seconds. And we're seeing all these guards, just wave after wave of guard coming in, picking up guns, because we realize that, they're going to, I guess, face Lucy, who is on the warpath. But it's weird that we're seeing such a stark contrast between Kisaragi and these three women just casually talking shop, having a chat in the break room, while there's death, chaos, and all kinds of nightmarish shit happening just around the corner.
I actually wrote, this was my notes regarding Kisaragi. Whimsical girl stands no chance. Like, I already thought she was out of here. She was like, this time I'm never going to mess it up. And it's like, oof, lady, I think you're done for, especially with what's happening in the rooms outside. I think it was kind of that, like, I feel it shouldn't have happened. It takes you out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, there's the second part of the episode, which takes you out of that sort of whole area, right? That whole feeling of mutilation, whatever. But this is just a weird sidestep. Like, it feels like they just went, let's introduce a character that we can kill. And it was like, wasn't necessary. Like, I would have preferred to have just watched New or Lucy or whatever you want to call her make that transition out of the building and just killed this lady and me not care about what she's doing in the break room.
Yeah, like Kisaragi certainly didn't advance the plot in any way, shape, or form. That's
No.
for sure. And there's no like spoiler but non-spoiler. This doesn't get sort of referenced again at the back end. Like we don't find out that she's a character that has more importance to something else that's going on. It's just a throwaway section where it breaks the mood and the tone completely. And so, yeah, we're seeing all these guards grabbing all the guns, tearing off to face Lucy. And then we see Kisaragi again, where she's carrying one cup of coffee on a giant tray.
Yeah.
And she's comically like ice skating around. Clearly she's like a baby giraffe learning to walk for the first time. And she's like stumbling around. She's like, oh, I didn't spill it. Oh, look at me. Like he's going to be proud of me. Like the boss is going to be so happy. And I'm like, why is this needed? What is this here for?
I know. And at this stage, I'm like, why hasn't this chick been fired? If anything, obviously the next scene is kind of, going to be a bit of a spoiler here, but like she gets beheaded like everybody else. But like, you're welcome for getting rid of like your most incompetent employee. Like, honestly, you don't have to, manage her out of the business.
Lucy did it for you.
She got decapitated. Don't have to worry about her spilling things in the break room anymore.
Yeah, it's a very weird choice to have her in here. And so, yeah, we see her stumbling around, somehow manages to keep this coffee cup on the tray, doesn't spill. Like, I don't know why she's just not holding the coffee cup by the handle like most people would do with one in this situation. But yeah, it's very, very strange. But we don't have to dwell on that for too long because, yeah, then it jumps into another scene where we see Lucy come up against 3 guards.
Mm-hmm. And
before these guards get chopped to pieces, they're talking about just stay more than 2 meters away from her. She can't hurt us at 2 meters. It's fine. It's fine. But then one of the other guards goes, hey, but what about objects that are close to her? Like, is that a thing too? And we don't have to wait too long to work out if that's a thing because she uses her mind powers to shoot a pen like a projectile at one of the guards. It goes straight through guard B's head. And then guard A and guard C also then get cut to pieces because Lucy ain't fucking around.
No. Like the pen thing was just like, well, that's badass.
Yeah.
But also during this scene, there is like a choir singing in the background, like a very Halo-esque.
It's the same song. It's that Lilium song getting overlaid. It is.
Okay,
it is.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I heard it that time, just not the first time. And I thought that was kind of interesting choice. Because I feel like most science fiction, most fantasy would probably use something that's a little bit fast paced, but here they've kind of gone for that like more maniacal choir. It just seems inherently evil, and I think it's this part where like they just kind of go, oh yeah, don't get near her, kills them all, and then one of the guys left. Is that right?
Yeah, that happens in the next part actually. So. The next scene, she then runs into 4 separate guards, and they've all got machine guns. So they've upgraded their caliber of weapon here, firing like hundreds of shots, like brrr, just mowing it down. You think, man, like is this the end of Lucy? Is this the end of this Diclonius? Lo and behold, it is not, because her telepathic powers can also stop and slow bullets, and so she stops all the bullets. We get like a scene that is pretty common in film these days. We see it a lot now where they can use their mind powers to stop bullets hitting them Matrix. Just here. Yeah. So maybe the brothers took a bit of creative freedom here from Elfen Lied back in the day. So we see all the bullets around her just fall to the ground and stuff. More dismemberment. 3 of the 4 guards get cut to hell. One of the guards attempts to flee, runs to a blast door, can't open the door, but 5 seconds later we realize that the handle is just there to the left and he could have opened it and got out easily. But he can't open the door. He gets cut to pieces with the telepathic arms of doom. But then we see one of these telepathic arms of doom, like another little horror tropey one where we see the blood hand on the wall, and then the spirit hand comes down and pulls the handle to open the blast doors that guard couldn't do apparently.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to point out in that scene is that the guard kind of cowers in the corner, and then she just crouches down and just stares at him and then kills him. And it's just like, she really fucking hates these people. Like, it was just uncomfortable. Just, it's almost like like playing with your prey before you kill it. I thought that kind of spoke a lot to the character itself. You know, there is a lot of hatred there. Otherwise, why would you go to that extent? But it's horrifying in a way that isn't horror. It's just not cool, bro. Like, please don't do that to people. I mean, there's a lot of that in this show, though. Later on, why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, Lucy, you can see very early on that, yeah, she just hates humanity. She doesn't care if you're a guard, you're the klutzy office worker.
Mm-hmm.
No one is safe. Like, if you're a human, if you're not a Diclonius, there's a chance you're going to get cut up. And yeah, I like that you sort of referenced it and described in that way, where it sort of takes, it's no longer horror. It's just pure evil, almost pure hatred. Like, she's just like, I don't care who you are. I'm going to cut you up, and I'm not going to think about you for a second after that. I'm just moving forward. She's like the Terminator.
Yeah, pretty much.
T-1000 style.
It's just like she has a plan and she's sticking to it. Anybody in the way is just collateral.
Yeah, so it's whoa, you're just like, well, more death. And they don't shy away from showing these cuts happening and excessive use of blood and seeing where the cuts have occurred, and you can actually see the human anatomy. Like, it's really well drawn and animated and very realistic. Like, it's not simplified or dumbed down at all. Like, you feel for every one of these nameless victims, of that there are many. So yeah, she opens up the door. We then see, as she comes through the door, there's a ton of guards standing there waiting at this door with some guns.
Once again.
And then, lo and behold, old Kisaragi, with the comic relief, stumbles on in, falls over directly in between Lucy and all these guards. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? Like, this juxtaposition of funny, stupid, and scary have just met head on. Like, the unstoppable force and the immovable, clumsy object have just come face to face. What is going to happen here? She spilt coffee everywhere, but Lucy just like, you know what, Kisaragi, you're done. Rips her head off, uses telekinesis to use her body as a shield as all the guards start shooting towards Lucy. So Kisaragi's body is just a pincushion. Yeah. And then she mind bullets a pen out of Kisaragi's pocket, through another guy. Like, the use of stationery in this show to kill people is phenomenal.
I mean, you know, she's very adaptive to her surroundings, and just seems to be that everybody has a pen.
Yeah.
But how? Okay, so in my head, it's all corridors, right, or hallways or whatever. It's all one. How does Kisaragi get in that room? Like, is she just been bumbling around the corridor that whole time and somehow snaked her way in front of these people with heavy machinery? It's so strange. But either way, good riddance. See you later. Someone's getting a promotion.
Yeah, Kisaragi is toast. And we see Kisaragi's boss, Kurama, who's also in the group here with all these soldiers, the 20-odd guards here with the guns. He's there. He's got the standard scientist sort of outfit going on. Yeah. So you can tell he's not a frontline soldier. So he's there watching on as well. But we see, again, Lucy just effortlessly mow through these 20 guards like they're nothing. And she even, like, spirit punches a guy's heart out. Like, she uses the fist. You see the guy's heart go out the back of his spine, and one of the other guards behind it catches his heart in his hands, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is some metal shit right here.
I feel bad for that guy that, like, caught his heart. He's just, like, mentally scarred for the 10 seconds that he's going to be alive. Yeah. But still, again, hatred, man. She just hates everyone.
Yeah, she's just swinging sort of spirit arms around everywhere, cutting people up. But the interesting part here is she completely ignores Kurama. So she kills every single one of the guards, doesn't acknowledge Kurama, just walks past him like he doesn't even exist. And she keeps walking through to the doors at the end into her eventual freedom. But we get some notification here. They're like, send in the shooter. And it's a sniper rolls in with a 50 caliber anti-tank rifle, as he describes it.
He's so cocky too.
Oh, yeah. So they're watching Lucy walk out, because we find out that this scientific facility is naturally on a secluded island overlooking the ocean. It's away from general populace here in Japan. And as she's walking towards her freedom, the cocky sniper rolls in, and the sniper and Kurama are now in like a little sniper nest, you could say, a couple of floors up in the building. And he's like, "You only got one shot at this. You got to make it count. After this first shot, she's going to know where you are, and bad things will obviously follow on from there." He takes the shot. It hits Lucy right in the head, but it doesn't kill her because it grazes, knocks the helmet off, creates this split personality out of Lucy, which we mentioned in sort of the synopses of the show. But it's a really beautiful shot because the helmet goes flying. It exposes her long, flowing pink hair, and it's flying everywhere. And the impact of the shot sort of knocks her towards and then off the edge into the sea below. So she's hit, she's spinning around, hair's flying everywhere, nudity is everywhere, and she lands in the sea below. And that's the end of the most hectic 7 minutes of an anime that I can remember in years.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's like the opening to Ghost Ship.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember
one of the greatest opens of all time.
Yeah. So her falling into the water, I was like, it's going to be the whole like water purifiers, like should be good after this, expecting that to happen. I mean, obviously we'll get to it a little bit later, but like that guy with the gun just really shitted me off. I don't know what it was about him. He was just like, we're talking about the 50 cal like it was going to do like God's work, and just strike her down. And I'm like, you've just had how many people try and shoot at her and have very poor success? So I don't know. I don't know why anybody in this show seems to think the guns will be effective against her. Yeah. And I'll discuss that a little bit later.
I think it's just they really paint not all of the soldiers and all of the armed forces, but a lot of the leads as these hyper machismo sexual tyrannosaurus wannabes. Like you meet Bando later that we'll talk about, and he's the same way. He's like, he's a cold-blooded killer, and he's gonna like do whatever he wants to whoever he wants. And this sniper sort of was, I guess, the entree version of Bando that we get later. But yeah, after that first 7 minutes, just like, oh boy, if this is the pacing for 13 episodes, I'm going to need to lie down to get ready for what's coming next. But luckily, the tone and the pacing completely changes as we jump into the next scene. So it jumps forward to the next day. We're introduced to Yuka and Koda, who are two of the leads. We find out very quickly on that they're cousins. Yuka's been looking for Koda around town as they've come back to sort of come back to this sort of village or this town that's familiar to them from childhood. And we get some confirmation that, they're going to go to the same college together. And you can already see very early on that Yuka is very, very keen. Like she's very positive towards Koda. She's very handsy. She's all about Koda. And that's something that's unpacked throughout this season and is one of the weird black marks of this anime that I feel is very unnecessary. But yeah, we find out that, they're cousins. They've known each other for a long time. And then Yuka's like, come on, Koda, let's go to the ocean. Let's reflect on when we were little and we used to play here together. So drags him to the ocean, and then Koda has a little bit of a flashback, and he mentions Kenai. We don't really understand who that is at the time, but we get a flashback to when they were little, and Koda's talking smack to Kenai because Kenai comes up and she's like, look at all these shells I collected, brother. And Koda, for some reason, just like, you're dumb. Those shells are shitty. Fuck you, for lack of a better term. I'm like, you nasty little bugger.
The other thing that I wanted to point out in that introduction to Koda and Yuka is the amount of cherry blossoms. Like, we get it. It's spring. Like, there is not a frame that I don't think a cherry blossom is visible. It's insane. But also, I wrote here with Yuka, it said, going to the same college seems planned. Sus, Yuka.
I like that you picked it up early.
Like, she just seems overly enthusiastic about her cousin. Like, I like my cousins, right? But don't be weird about it. Like,
don't be Yuka. Don't be Yuka.
Yeah,
with your
don't be a
cousins.
Yuka. Like, and they're first cousins. Let's just point that out. But then, like, the whole, like, let's go to the beach and hang out at the beach. It's like, this dude, I think he just got off a train. Is that right? Like, I feel like they've just
got off the train. So Yuka lives in this village or this town, but Koda he lives in another neighboring village or another city or something. So he's rolled in off the train, Yuka's been running around frantically trying to find him because, her world doesn't exist without Coda in it. But yeah, they then take a nice leisurely stroll to the beach, and we get this scene here, and this is where we meet Lucy, just casually standing naked in the ocean, and we get this 90-degree camera pan that focuses towards Lucy, and then we get the ew, and you're just like, what's going on? And she sort of freaks out for some reason because Yuka and Coda are like, who's this girl? Why is she standing naked in the sea? Like, you do you, but whatever. And so, yeah, we get new. She freaks out, attempts to run away, and then she falls over and begins to cry in front of Coda and Yuka, and they're sort of a little confused in this situation.
She goes from being like this menacing demonic force to being a cat girl. Literally, like, it just, you can see the horns at that stage where, you know, she has what looks like cat ears. I also wanted to confirm, does new mean anything in Japanese?
Let me Google that.
Because, like, they just go ahead and start calling her new because they think that's her name.
It doesn't look like it. No.
Okay.
No. Not that I can see. And listeners, if we're wrong, feel free to reach out and let us know. But I can't see anything. Oh, actually, it could tie into water. New. Yeah. Water. Okay. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, she is standing in water when she says it.
Yeah. Anyway.
But and then they make sort of reference to her having the horns. And then Coda has a flashback to some like really weird orange sky, kind of a child in the background calling him a liar. And then he obviously comes out of it. And then we have him giving her his clothes to cover her up.
Yeah. Gives her his nice like white button-up shirt, just so that way New or Lucy is not walking around this town naked anymore.
But then you also have that really weird exchange where Yuka says to Coda, "Take your clothes off," and he's just like, "What?"
Yeah, and
she's like, to give to her, and it's like, you could have framed that better.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be sus, Yuka.
Yeah. I don't think that vocal delivery was done by accident for sure, because we know what Yuka wants pretty quickly here. So they give Lucy or New some clothes. You can see that Lucy's in a bit of a bad way. She's got blood, like dried blood down her head from the top of her head from where the impact of the bullet and the helmet sort of smashed together, and maybe when she fell into the sea. Yeah, it's funny because at first she thought that the horns were like part of a headband, as you would. You wouldn't just assume that the horns or very much cat ears would be on somebody, but no one questions it. Like, she realized, she's like, oh, they're actually part of her head. Like, that's not a headband. But that's it. There's no like, isn't that weird, Coda? Like, what's going on here? Like, this girl has actual horns or cat ears on the top of her head. What is going on? It was just like, that's just accepted instantaneously and never spoken of again.
But the other thing that's really odd is that she's bleeding from the head, and it's like they don't even suggest taking her to a hospital. They're just like, let's take her back to our place. It's like, or the police, this person could potentially be like mentally incapable of looking after themselves, and they're like, you know what, we'll do it instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they, like Yuka says, let's take her back home. They arrive at this giant ass house. We find it's an old restaurant that Yuka's family owns. It's a giant 10-bedroom house. It's a monster. And we get some little context as far as what's going on, because Coda's like, hey, how can I afford to live here? And they're like, that's fine. You can stay here for free as long as you keep it clean. And then he's like, what? A 10-bedroom house? I got to clean and be the caretaker here? Like, come on, Yuka. What the hell is going on? It's another one of these comedic moments that made me chuckle.
I actually had that in there. Why are you sooking about it? That was what my note was. Because honestly, you're getting a 10-bedroom house. If you're not using 8 of the bedrooms, very minimal work done there, right? Mm-hmm. But like, you're living there for free, dude. Be excited about it.
Yeah. Save him a ton of monthly rent, that's for sure. So we then see the little trio here enter the house, and we get this part. And they're like, wow, this must be an antique, as they look at a grandfather clock, and I'm like, that's weird, but it makes more sense as the episodes go on because for some reason this clock becomes a bit of a focal point.
Yeah. And do we talk about the next part?
We will talk about the next part. You lead us in on this next part.
Honestly, it serves no purpose. So new Lucy gets upset and no one knows what she's doing. And then she just like sits down and pees on the floor. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Is happening? Why?
Yeah, I think like you can sort of see she assumes the position when you're busting and you're like sort of holding your legs together and she's sort of pacing up and down the hallway. And I guess, I don't know if it's either one, she doesn't know how to go to the bathroom, or two, she doesn't know where the bathroom is in this giant 10-bedroom house. And yeah, she just collapses in the hallway, does a big old piddle right on the floor. Yeah, it's very strange. And then the next scene straight after is equally as strange because Lucy's like, all right, well, I guess we're just going to go get naked together and bath and I'm going to wash you off. So there's just a random scene straight after where they're both in the nutty and she's washing her off after she wet herself. And I'm just like, this nudity is so unnecessary, but okay,
it's like,
that's this show.
Coda's then like obviously cleaning it up and they come back out and actually, I don't know if that's this part yet. But either way, yeah, it was very unnecessary where it was just like, I'll bath you now. And it's maybe 10 seconds, maybe even less than that. Serves no purpose.
No. But it's just, I think it's just sort of trying to let the viewer understand that like, yeah, clearly new, not Lucy anymore, is almost like a newborn or a toddler here. So she's very childlike, doesn't know how to survive out in the big bad world. So maybe Yuka just subconsciously picked up on this pretty quick and was like, you know what, I'm going to assume the role of the mother here and wash our surrogate daughter or whatever the hell. I don't know. Maybe I'm clutching at straws. But either way, was unnecessary. We sort of jump out of that bath scene, thankfully, and we find out that Yuka's brought some rice balls along. And I'm like, oh, I love rice balls, especially in anime. They always look gorgeous and very tasty. Lucy or New has no idea what's going on. You can sort of see they're really hammering home that she is very childlike in her mental capacity here.
All the more reason to take her to a hospital or a police station.
But yep, never brought up in this episode at all.
No.
They're just like, you know what? This is our new
special
child. Yeah,
we've got 10 rooms. Who cares?
Yeah, we're 10 rooms. We're a couple of college kids. We've never done this in our life, but this will be fine. We've got a little horned, childlike adult here. We got this in the bag. So there's a weird little comedic exchange here again where they're eating the rice balls, but Koda lets Yuka eat the rice ball out of his hands, and you can see Yuka gets a little bit jealous there, and he's like, oh, here we go. This already.
It's but the other thing is that when she eats the rice ball, she just full on like face palms at her own, and then he's like, oh, you've never eaten rice balls, here you go, this is how you meant to eat it. And then she takes a bite out of his, obviously, and then Yuki gets weird. But it's so strange. It's so incredible.
That's just this anime or this manga or this IP. Like it is very strange, but it somehow works most of the time. So that scene is over. We now jump into the next scene, and we're back in the sort of research facility. We can see the cage, the petitions, the 5 locks, the security system. It's just emphasized how much of a force Lucy is to break out of all of those things I just talked about.
Yeah.
We're getting some correspondence here from a couple of the higher ups that work in the facility, talk about, you know what, we're going to assemble a special assault team to take it down. This is going to be a killer and not capture type of situation. You know, Lucy's going to die. Like, we're going to get her because she killed 23 people in that escape situation that happened earlier in the episode.
Yeah, only 23.
It felt like 203. But
it felt like a lot more. When they're like, oh, I killed 23, I'm like, there is no way. But then I went back in my head and I was like, oh, actually, probably closer to 23. But
maybe a few of them survived.
Maybe it's because there's so many limbs that you're just like, there's no way they all came from 23 people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, and we also get a cool line here from the higher ups talking about it would take a monster to beat Bando 101. We get introduced to Bando, who's this like crazy piece of shit, we could say.
Oh, he's the
military
worst.
man. And he's out there doing simulations and he's shooting all these simulated enemies, not hitting a single civilian. I thought he was going to just be mowing down everybody and just not care, like kill the civilians, kill the enemies. But we find out that, yeah, he's a bit of a wild boy, killing everything. The simulation's over, and he's sort of yelling to the higher-ups that are watching him from above, what's the point of shooting at targets if they don't scream or bleed? And you're like, oh, yeah, you're a bit of a sicko. You're a bit of a sicko.
This guy's got issues, man. Like, I hate him so much. I hated him so much. Like, as soon as they introduced him and it was like his first few lines were just so cringe and just terrible. And not to mention his like whole demeanor about like how good he is. It's just, worst. Bandau, is that his name? Bandau,
yeah. Or Bando,
whatever. But like, the other thing is they're talking about sending him to help kill her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, why have we not learned anything? Because every time somebody with a gun goes against her, bad things happen. Yeah, Bandau shoots things. Everybody gets excited that he can shoot things, but she can literally stop bullets. Is he going to be that good that he can get through that? But then it goes on to a scene where, well, first of all, he's talking about how good he is. And then a woman kind of comes up behind him and he just like full on hits her, closed fist. And then he's like, don't ever sneak up on me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Why is no one helping this woman, by the way? They just all kind of like look at it like, oh, he's a badass. It's like, no, he just hit a woman that was carrying something unprovoked. And then the boss guy, what his name's Karami?
Yeah, he's like, he's perfect.
He's just like full erect, just like, this dude, he's excellent.
Yeah. It's so messed up. Like the entire scene is just messed up. Like, yeah, this poor woman is just yet another like
employee,
office worker, just trying to earn a living here. Rocks up to sort of talk to Bandau about this, I guess, this role or this mission that's about to take place. Yeah, cops one right in the kisser for no reason, and then all the other male employees around her don't react, don't help her out.
No.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, they talk about how perfect Bandau is for just being
punching
a
woman.
cold-blooded, ruthless son of a bitch. So it's just like, oh, okay, this is the world we live in. I understand why Lucy hates everybody.
Yeah. And at that point, I was like, can someone just kill him now? Because he is literally the worst thing about this show.
Yeah, he's not a good guy. And I get that they wanted to, I guess, avoid any confusion about like, oh, does this guy have any redeeming qualities? Is he going to be okay? And it's like, no, Bando, you're just a piece of shit. You're going to be probably one of the main antagonists that's going to be going against Lucy throughout this season, I imagine. But I hate you, and it's kind of weird that I'm rooting for Lucy even though she just killed 23 people.
I do have a note here that just says, this dude sucks. That's pretty much it.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after we get the boss man talking about how perfect Bando is, we jump back to the 10-bedroom house. Yuka has cleaned the place. She's telling Koda, hey, this is a one-time only deal. I've just done this out of the goodness or the creepiness of my own heart. Who knows?
Creepiness.
We find out that, rain is pouring outside, and they're reminiscing then about the very last shell that Kenai found on the beach and gave to Koda, which is Koda's younger sister. But then just randomly, he just throws, or not randomly, but he throws all this backstory out to us really, really fast, where he's like, this is the last thing he ever received from his sister. And just casually drops, before she got sick and died. Like
from a disease.
Yeah. And it's just like no emotional delivery in the line. It's just like, it's just, this is the last thing I got from my sister before she got sick and died. The end. You're just like, whoa, oh shit, okay.
It reminds me a lot of a scene from the cinematic classic, The Room, with Tommy Wiseau, where the mother in that goes, it's true, the doctors confirmed it, I have cancer. And then no one ever brings it up ever again. It's just so devoid of emotion. And then New takes the shell. Like, first of all, let's talk about the fact that when he had the shell, like when she gave him the shells, he was a real jerk about it in that flashback. He was just like, look, what a loser, collecting shells. And then New takes the shell and she breaks it. And then he's like, oh my God, why would you do that? But then I'm like, okay, first of all, you took in somebody that potentially has an injury, a brain injury or something, and you already know that she's been acting like a toddler. you can't be mad when that happens, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm with you.
It's got to like morph. Like you're an idiot. Just and why are you yelling at her? Clearly, she doesn't understand what's going on. But no, keeps yelling at her, and then New runs off.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange scene, and yeah, it makes you dislike Coda severely because yeah, you could see when she grabs the shell and snaps it, it felt like there was a bit of a jealousy type of thing happening here with New, where she's like, "Oh, this deceased sister made him happy. I can't have that." She's quickly sort of like, Coda's my brother now, or my love interest, or whatever, and yeah, snaps the shell. But yeah, Coda then has a little bit of a mental break and yeah, grabs poor New by the shoulders and is shaking her like, "What are you doing? You can't do that. Get out, leave, like fuck off, get out of this 10-bedroom house." And in this whole scene, we get Lilium, the OP track again, creeping in again through this situation. So you get this very somber, very grand, but also creepy track because it's a beautiful piece, but it does weird me out, the song. I don't know what it is, but it's like a skin crawler a little bit for me.
Yeah, it's that like ethereal, just, I don't know, it's like the opposite of ASMR.
Yeah, whatever the opposite is, that's what this song Lilium is.
Dirty.
Yeah, so New runs out into the rain, potentially never to be seen of again. Yuka is trying to then explain to Coda what happened, and she's like, "Oh, maybe New just broke the shell because she could see how sad this shell made you. Like, you got to let go of the past. You got to move forward. So this shell break is like a metaphor for letting things go and moving forward." I'm like, "Righto, Yuka, this is some weird pervy entrapment going on." Yeah,
honestly, it's weird. Stop it. And it only gets worse as the series moves on.
Yeah. Minor spoilers. Doesn't really break what's going on there. But yeah, it is very strange. And then Yuka's like, "All right, Coda, you butthead, I'm gonna go out and look for Mew in the rain." So then we jump into the next scene and we're introduced to the assault force that's coming here to take down Lucy. And we get a line in this whole situation. And Bando is talking with his crew. He gets a bit crazy, pulls out a gun, attempts to like kill one of the guys by putting the gun, like his pistol, in one of his compatriots' faces here. But he also says this line where he goes, "I never thought I'd see the day when this country would let me terminate a minor." And you're just like, what?
Dude is so
Why
excited.
Is this here?
So, first of all, we already know he hates women. Secondly, he now wants to kill a minor. Like, please, somebody unalive this dude. Honestly, he is the worst. And like, he's just like literally just comparing dick size in that helicopter. Like, he's somehow better than all those other guys.
Yeah, Bando, I hate you. And like, I guess this storytelling and the way they show him on screen or in the manga panels, it's very easy to hate him, and they want you to feel strongly towards him in a negative light. So I get it. But yeah, that line, I'm just like, oh, this is very uncomfortable again. So it's brought all that uncomfort back into my being as this scene happens. And then we see Newer's back standing at the beach, and we're getting some information from the commander on the helicopter at the same time, talking about we've got to be careful about this target. She killed 23 people in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're like, we're seeing the risk and the stakes getting confirmed here by this assault squad. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? Is it going to be this, group of shock troopers, or is it going to be the Diclonius? Who the heck knows? But in this situation, this is where the episode ends. New standing on the beach, thinking about life and breaking shells and God knows what else. We find out that, yeah, she's just a cold-blooded killing machine. Then it cuts to the ED, which is very, very jarring because it is a bop. I got to say, it's like a 90s, 2000s pop song. You'd hear it in the charts.
Yeah, it feels like an Avril Lavigne song.
Yes.
Like, honestly, I'm like, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated?
Yeah, I wrote it. I thought it was Sixpence None the Richer singing Kiss Me or something.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. But it is very jarring. And every time it hits, I'm like, it feels bad to feel good in this show, right? So, like, when it does cut to that juxtaposition of music, it's like, yes, let's rock on. But literally, you think back to the episode and you're like, oh, a whole bunch of people died, and there was these weird undertones and blah, blah, blah. But I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a very fun, warm song until you start reading the lyrics. So the song that's used in the
Oh,
ED
don't
is
ruin
called
it for me.
it's called "Be Your Girl" by Cheiko Kawabe, and with the ending, we just see the credits rolling down the right hand side of the screen. On the left hand side, we've just got Mew naked, which just happens, like Mew just hanging out
Standard.
there in the nutty, as we've come to expect in this show after one episode. But some of the lines in here, I'll read them to you. And it says, "Many times I've thought that it's fine, even like that. Although I'm sharing you with someone else, resenting it, I've cried countless times. Even if it's just a lie to comfort me, say that I'm the only one."
No. Is this song written by Yuka?
Yeah, it feels that way. And then there's other lines here saying, "It's shameful to shed tears here, so I grip my teeth, enduring it all. Please, you're the only one in my heart. Tell me that I'm the only one you love. There's only one thing that I want. I desire nothing but every part of you." So the lyrics in this, like, it's a really positive, like, if they didn't show the lyrics or I didn't read them, like, you'd be listening to it going, this is a bop. Like, this is a little toe tapper.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun times. Then you read the lyrics, you're like, ooh, this is dark, and it relates to not only what we've seen in this first episode, but there's a lot of foreshadowing here as to what could come too from the lyrics in, because this song wasn't chosen by accident, that's for sure.
I hate everything about it now. You've just ruined that song for me.
I'm sorry.
Damn. Okay. Well, look, it's been great to chat, but I'm hanging up now. Oh God. Yeah, no, it is great. And then obviously you get the little at the end, the next time on Elfen Lied.
I love the guy's voice.
It's
I didn't
great,
write
isn't
down the narrator. He does these little recaps and then like a little what to look forward to in the next episode, or maybe not what to look forward to, what to be prepared for in the next episode.
Yeah.
And he's got such a great vocal delivery and tone. I love it. It's one of my favorite things
Honestly,
about the anime.
Nothing will ever prepare you for the next episodes. Like if someone was to tell me that each episode gets progressively worse in terms of themes, I would have gone, ha ha ha, good joke. I've seen some messed up films. But no, no spoilers, of course, but it does progressively get worse.
It really does. It is heavy. You'll see things like discrimination, social alienation, identity, prejudice, revenge, abuse, jealousy, regret, and also like maybe the value of humanity or being human or what it is to be alive. So there is some niceties in there, but for the most part, it is heavy, hard-hitting stuff that makes you feel very uncomfortable watching these scenes play out.
I think like also there is that huge like loss of innocence as well. Like because she does look so unsuspecting, but then obviously has that murderous shriek.
Mm-hmm.
But like on top of that, you also have like the whole morality of it all, because you learn about it all in the future, but the first episode really doesn't cover too much. No. I don't think. It's just literally that 7 minutes. That's the hook. That's what's going to get you to watch the rest of the show. And I just want to add that I feel like Stranger Things owes a lot to this show. And I was like, it does feel very Stranger Things. And I Googled it. Shout out to Google. And the Duffer Brothers did reference this as an inspiration for the character.
11.
Yeah. So I don't want to like spoil anything, but it's not really a spoiler, but somebody does reference the boss as being Papa in a later episode. So I think it's very similar where 11 references her, the scientist that looked after her, as Papa. Mm-hmm. But obviously being chained up in a testing facility as well is very, very common. Well, what's the word I'm looking for here? They've stolen it, basically.
Yeah, I screenshotted that exact note. They called Elfen Lied an ultra-violent ET. And yeah, 11 and Lucy, Lucy influenced 11 pretty heavily in Stranger Things. So I think that's kind of cool to see this anime bleed into one of the largest series / pop culture icons of the last several decades. So I think that's really big praise for Elfen Lied and Lucy.
But it is surprising. I would never have thought somebody would look at this show and go, you know what, let's take a few of the ideas. Because let's say like that idea itself of the whole like test facility, that's probably the only idea you can take. Everything else is just, especially Bandau's character, Bandau.
He's just not a good guy. But like we've seen that trope used in all kinds of media anyway, like the evil
Mhm.
army man, the evil warlord, the evil guy that's just got eternal bloodlust, and that's him. But yeah, they also layer in some other stuff. But yeah, he's a woman hater and is excited to kill kids. So
Yeah, but it makes me not want to watch the scenes with him in it. You know, like there's creating that resentment or like frustration towards the character, and then there's just like, I absolutely do not want to see this person's face on my screen.
see, I go the opposite where I want to see the scenes because I want to see him get his comeuppance. I want him to be like not just a quick, spectral insta kill. I want it to be like slow and drawn out and almost torture like.
Yeah,
That's messed up to say, but I want him to feel every bit of pain and hardship going through him before he's ultimately finished off. Hopefully,
you want
maybe,
revenge for those horrible actions. Yeah, I get it, but still,
he's not a good guy. But speaking of good and or bad, what is your favorite scene or most memorable scene or moment in this first episode?
Favorite scene would definitely be just that opening. Probably like as bad as it sounds, that scene where she's just staring at the guy before she beheads him. That just, I don't want to say spoke to me, but like I felt it. Like that kind of like made me go, ooh. And any time that like a TV show or a movie does that to you, it's always a good thing. Like if you leave the cinema with like a sense of, I need to talk about this with somebody, then I feel like it's done its job. A lot of the A24 films are like that. So there is definitely some commonalities there. I think there is a lot of bad. I mean, I don't even know where to. The gratuitous nudity just feels so out of place a lot of the time. Yuka is horrible. Well, I mean, Yuka's not terrible herself, but it's just the Yuka's motivations maybe seem a little bit sus. And then you've got Coda. I didn't really like him.
He was really a bit of a nothing character, wasn't he?
He just seems like I'll just go along with whatever anybody tells me to do. It's like, okay, all right. Don't have a single thought of your own, other than when somebody breaks his shell, which then seems like he is very fragile himself. Yeah, I think overall, good show. First episode is definitely what's going to pull you in to watch the rest of it. As to whether or not I will continue to watch the rest of it, I am already 9 episodes in. And I will finish out the full 13, I believe.
Good, correct. Yeah, 13 episodes.
Did you say there's an OVA as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't really worry about the OVA. Like, it's weird. The OVA, I'm not going to go into the beats of the OVA itself, but it's very comedic and caricaturish in a way. Like, it feels like it doesn't, like it fits into this universe, but it doesn't at the same time. So I wouldn't rush out to check the OVA afterwards. I think after the 13 episodes, you'll be satisfied and uncomfortable enough.
Now, was it planned to be more seasons, or was it just...
It tells a complete story, but the manga goes well beyond this. So yeah, it could have potentially gone into a second season, but from what I've heard, ARMS, the studio behind it, apparently the budget on this thing blew the hell out, and they either didn't have the funds / the inspiration to write a second story. And like they did get a bit creative where they finished the anime before the manga was finished. So there is some slight changes between the anime and the manga versions. But they sort of cobbled it together and rushed it to a conclusion. And it is very big. Like it got huge in the 2004. And then when it came out in America in 2005, it became one of the biggest anime for those sort of following few years. Like everyone was all about it because it was so different. So it's a shame that we didn't get more. I'm not going to say how the season ends or anything like that. But they could certainly dig more into this world and create a second season, I feel. But yeah, we never got it. We probably never will.
No, I think the time's passed now.
Yeah.
It's 20 years on. I mean, unless it's going to be like, a new episode of Frasier on Paramount Plus or something, God,
I hate Frasier so much. I've
never liked Frasier. I just think it's funny that like all these TV shows that we would have watched as children, they're like, hey, let's bring him back for another season. Still not funny now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand it, but I understand Elfen Lied a little bit, and I scored this, like, if we're going the My Anime List metrics out of 10, I scored it a 6 out of 10 on my My Anime List. So
yeah,
it's not a world beater, but it's also not complete trash and completely avoidable. So I think it's worth a look. At least check out the first episode, because those opening 7 minutes are some of the strongest and craziest you'll ever see in anything, not even just anime.
I don't think it's moving the needle at all. It's not doing anything that like we have to talk about, but it's doing stuff that is interesting to talk about, seeing as we've just done a podcast on the first episode. I think it is worth a watch, just only the first episode, to see the outrageousness, but it would never ever be put into the same vein as like Cowboy Bebop or those sorts of things. Like, did you say it was listed 74th?
7.47 out of 10, and it's the 74th most popular anime on all of My Anime List. So people will be thirsting for Elfen Lied for one reason or another.
That is actually very high.
Yeah.
What's number one? Is it One Piece?
I think it's actually Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Let me see. Top anime. Let me pull this up. No, so Free Run has jumped above Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I'm so happy about, because Free Run is one of the best new anime of the last several years. So if you want the top 5, we've got Free Run at number 1, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood at number 2, Steins Gate at 3, which is amazing science fiction, Gintama, amazing fantasy science fiction, and then Attack on Titan at number 5.
I've tried to watch Attack on Titan multiple times, but I cannot get into it. I don't know if it's because I'm watching a dubbed version, and I should just really go with the subbed version. But I've watched the first season maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm going to say 2.5 times, but it just doesn't do it for me. And I feel like I am in the minority here.
I really enjoyed it, but I don't think it's the greatest of all time, like some people talk about. I feel it gets unnecessarily dense and unnecessarily complex, and unless you're giving it its full attention, you are well, at least I get constantly confused where I'm like, hang on, who's this character? Why are they changing? Why are they acting this way? So you've got to be like laser focused as to what's
phones,
happening.
No other screens in the room.
Yeah. AOT or bust, really. But
turn the lights off.
Yeah, just hyper focus on Eren Yeager and co and see what they're up to. But if you're still unsure about Elfen Lied, but if you've checked out Higurashi When They Cry, Dead Men Wonderland, The Future Diary, Another, or Claymore, if you've enjoyed any of those 5 anime, you will enjoy Elfen Lied, because those are the 5 most commonly, if you like that, you're going to like this type of comparisons.
I did
All
like
5
Claymore.
of those are great. Claymore is so good.
Yeah.
So good. The ending could have been a bit better. It's different to the manga, but overall it is stunning. It's creepy. Give me more of that sort of period piece, fantasy horror vibe.
I do love that.
Any form.
Now, before we started this episode, or before we even discussed it, you said you had a few animes in mind for me. Can you expose what the other ones were? Yeah,
let me pull up my list. So stand by for a second.
Ultimately, we settled on this one.
We did.
Do you think we would have had a better experience had we settled on another one?
Ooh, I don't think so, because the risk with More Than Hentai and the concept, for better or for worse, only covering that first episode can be good or bad, because usually, you've got the rule of 3 with an anime. It's like, watch the first 3 episodes. If you're not vibing it, then maybe move on, because a lot of the time the first episode isn't going to give you all you want or all you need to hook you. So I'm happy we went with Elfen Lied, because those first 7 minutes will get anybody interested. Side note, I'm getting very hungry.
It is lunchtime. Do you want some rice balls?
Oh, yeah. Can you feed them to me?
Teach you how.
Okay, so as far as first episodes go, I had on my list, I had Monster, which is tying into it's very thriller, very psychological, ties into a serial killer running around Germany. I did have The Promised Neverland. I had that listed. And funnily enough, The Promised Neverland is also one that Mamoru Kanbei directed. So he was helming of that. It's got one of the other best first episodes out. Also, Hellsing Ultimate was one I thought about. Hellgirl, Boogie Pop Phantom I had listed. Dark Gathering, which is a new one that's just finished airing. I thought the concept was pretty funny.
Okay.
And then also the other one there that I had listed, Higurashi When They Cry, which is pretty hectic, pretty messed up, and very interesting. I've got a list. I'll send it to you so you can have a peek at some first episodes and see if any of them resonate. But Higurashi is like, oh boy, that stays with you as well.
Maybe future episodes of More Than Hentai. We'll touch on these.
We'll just dive into the depths. Like Corpse Party is another one that could tie into it.
Why do I feel like maybe I've seen that one?
There's plenty. I wanted to avoid the Junji Ito collection because I feel that that's very overrated as well. Like they're on Netflix now and they're little short stories, but I just don't feel they're as good as people make it out to be.
I did see High School of the Dead.
High School of the Dead's pretty good.
That was just fun. That was just I wouldn't rate it overly highly, but probably still rate it higher than Elfen Lied.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I feel like it just has a little bit more character development in it.
Yeah.
That isn't based on horrible themes.
Well, at least Elfen Lied's consistent in that the horrible themes run rampant throughout all 13 episodes. All right, man. Well, let's jump into the last word presented by our friends over at Japan Crate. Experience Japan through snacks and knickknacks via monthly package drops courtesy of japancrate.com. And while you're there, be sure to use code 8bit15 at checkout to get yourself 15% off your order and free shipping to anywhere on planet Earth. Jared, what is your last word, your last words, your last thoughts on Elfen Lied?
So much violence. So much violence. It's just... Whew. I think if my final word would be give the first episode a shot. Do I think everyone will love it? No, definitely not. But I think it's worth seeing that it's now 74th of all time. I feel like everyone should give it a shot, watch it, at least know what everyone is watching and rating that highly. I mean, we aren't rating it that highly. Because I'd probably read about like 6.5 out of 10. But yeah, enjoy the circle of violence.
Yeah, strap in, be prepared, and get ready to feel uncomfortable for many reasons.
Don't watch it with your parents.
No, yeah, do not do the Mulholland Drive route and bring the parents along to view Elfen Lied, especially or any of the episodes. Actually, it's not really a safe episode for you and mum and dad to sit down and watch together.
Unless, there is no unless. Just don't do it.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of weird things with my mum over the years. She introduced me to horror at a young age, so maybe like I could probably watch this with her, but I know I'd get the eyebrows and the side eye as we'd be watching it too.
Just the like, what the fuck?
I need to get my mum on here to cover some anime, so maybe I need to find something a bit twisted for her to sink her teeth into. She's never really watched anime, so it's going to be
so where do you get it from?
From my uncle, actually. Like my uncle is 7 years older than me, so we grew up pretty close. Like we'd always hang out together when I was, anywhere from 7 to 10. He'd be 13, 14 to 17. So I'd go over and stay at his place sometimes, take over my game consoles. We'd play games on the Friday night. And on that Friday night, we'd get the SBS anime drops.
Of course. And
I first stumbled into Neon Genesis Evangelion and Ninja Scroll on those Friday night anime drops. And that's what hooked me.
I know. You told me to watch Ninja Scroll and I'm a little bit behind.
Yeah, it's one of my goats. It's one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, it really helped set me on the path to love this medium because it's so great. Like, yeah, it's so messed up and twisted and shocking as well. But it is such a special, special piece of cinema. And I love it so much.
And we love you.
Oh, thank you. And I love you as well. But listeners, that brings us to the end of another episode of More Than Hentai. Thank you so much for stopping on by. Be sure to rate and subscribe this podcast as well as all the other podcasts you listen to on the regular. Those ratings and reviews mean the world to us, help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts, and help keep us tracking, keep us relevant. Takes no time, costs no money. So pay that good karma forward with a cheeky 5-star rating review on your podcast platform of choice. But Jared, let the listeners know anything that you've got coming up, where they can find you again, anything else you want to shed out before we close this sucker down for another couple of weeks.
Nothing as of late, but you can catch me at DreamHack this weekend. I'm sure this episode may not have even aired. but retrospectively, I was at DreamHack.
And it was a great time.
Yeah, I fucking loved it. Got to hang
caught
out.
up,
with
we had a
Brandon.
good time, and we enjoyed one another's company.
Yeah, exactly. But nothing coming up on my. You might catch me on TikTok streaming from time to time. You'll catch me on Threads or Twitter posting reviews about shitty movies.
Yeah, and you can find him on all of those platforms at Broke Nose De Niro. You can find me at More Than Senpai on all those platforms. You want to find all that content in one tasty place, you can head on over to morethanhentai.life. Get yourself some tasty merchandise. You can join the Sugoi Squad over there as well. So, if you can throw some money our way, please do so. But otherwise, those ratings and reviews will mean the world otherwise. But listeners, it's time to get on out of here. So whether your anime be subbed, dubbed, or still yet to come, enjoy yourself, stay hungry, and much love to all the gorgeous waifus out there. Goodbye.
New.
私の手は無駄だよ。あー